That started, I would say, either sixth or seventh grade. Um, and it got gradually worse up till high school. But middle school it was like light weighted things, but they would call me like they would call me an ogre. And to this day, I will not watch Shrek because that's hard. Even my principal called me in the office based on the rumors, and called my mom into the office to say that maybe I need to take a step back because all the kids are saying that I'm putting myself out there too much. And I used to have a huge gap in my teeth before I got braces, and that was something that was talked about on a daily basis at school. I remember getting text messages at home telling me that the world would be a better place without me in it, from anonymous numbers. And I didn't even play volleyball my senior year of high school because I was never at school because I didn't want to go anymore. And it did affect me for a long time. Looking in the mirror, the way I looked at myself was not good. And the way that I thought of myself was not good either. I remember I remember not feeling like I wasn't pretty enough, or that nobody was going to think I was beautiful or any of these things. And I just wanted to change a lot of things about myself I remember begging my mom for braces all of high school just to fix it. I would say it first started when I think I was like 15. It was a couple years after the bullying had happened, and I just felt alone. Like I was losing all of my friends. I was not with the people that I used to be friends with, and all the girlfriends that I had weren't there. And then the text messages started coming, and I was also fighting with my parents a lot because through me getting bullied, I was trying to find somewhere to get accepted, and I was hanging out with the wrong people, wrong crowds, and drinking and hiding things from my parents. And so it was causing me to fight with my parents. It was causing school to not be an escape. So home was an escape, and school wasn't an escape. So I felt like I didn't have anywhere else to go. And then I don't think that I became suicidal until after the sexual abuse. I think after that it was like the cake topper of feeling alone. And my parents were pretty strict. So I felt like the stricter they got, the more I rebelled, and then it caused a friction between me and my mom. I think Carter saved our relationship.
Is that how you guys started talking again? Or got through the war?
No, she was the first person I went to when I found out I was pregnant. She was actually really supportive because my mom went through the same thing with me at a young age. So my mom sat me down. Well, we sat on the couch and I told her, and she didn't like the guy anyways. So I think she already knew that I was going to be doing this on my own. And she asked me, she said, whatever decision that you're going to make, I'm going to stand by you through it. And then I like to say that my mom was Carter's father figure for a long time. Before finding God, it was like the first time that I didn't feel alone. Like my mom cut Carter's umbilical cord. That's how much support that I had. The first guy was, we were not dating at the time, and we were not anything but friends. I met him through mutual friends, and he was significantly older than me. I think I was 15 and he was either 19 or 20. And we just hung out at a party or something, and then we were hanging out with the same people in the same friend groups. And we, at a party, we had a deep conversation about like the whole feeling alone thing. So it started out fine. We were small chatting, and then he like looked at me while he was driving, and I don't know if he like said words with more breath or what, but I smelled alcohol in his breath, and I should have said, turn this car around, take me home, but I didn't. And then we pulled up in his driveway, and the garage was open, and his parents' cars weren't there, so I knew that we were there alone. And we were sitting in the garage, and he was sitting on a stool in the corner, and then he got up to grab a beer, and I said, "Oh, it's Wednesday night. I really don't think that we should be doing that." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'm going to anyways, but you don't have to if you don't want to." Okay. I should have called my mom to come get me then, but I did not. He was like, "Let's go inside to eat some food." So I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." And I tried to go up the stairs to go to the kitchen, and instead he pushed me towards the basement, where I was starting to get a sense of more uncomfortability. I tried to make light and go to the bathroom, but he wouldn't let me. I remember him grabbing the corner of my shirt and pulling me to the room, and it was dark, but he had those LED lights around the room, so that was the only lights that you could see. I had my phone in my back pocket, and he took it out of my back pocket, so that was the first warning sign. And then once in the room, he closed the door immediately and locked it. And then he tried to kiss me, and I told him, "No, this isn't what I want right now." And then he wasn't taking no for an answer. And he went to go undo my pants, and I remember starting to push and fight back a little bit, but it wasn't working. And then I remember him turning me around and shoving me onto the bed. I remember yelling, but nothing coming out. It felt like the world had stopped. And in that moment, it felt like something was taken from me that I didn't give permission to be taken from me. And when it was finally over, I walked out of that basement a different person, an emptier person. And to this day, I still remember, I think I was in the shower for an hour, and I just kept scrubbing myself, and I felt like I was the dirtiest thing ever, and I could not get him off of me. I remember when I first found God, that it was the first time that piece that he had taken from me a long time ago was finally filled again. And it was something only God could fix. I missed my mom. I missed her, and I finally had the realization that, like, she was right about everything. That if I would have listened to her in the first place, that half of the things that happened to me wouldn't have transpired. And that she wasn't trying to make my life miserable. She was trying to protect me. And maybe she didn't go about it in the best way, but she was doing it the way that she knew how to at the time. And we've actually discussed it recently, and she apologized for, she makes mistakes. I was her first kid, so she was learning through me as I was learning too. It was after I was previously engaged, and after that breakup, and that relationship was toxic, and when we broke up, I didn't know what to do. We were together for a while. So my friends at the time, they were like, oh, let's invite people, because at this time I had just bought a house with him. But he had moved out until I found a place to go. And my friends from my job at that time they were like, let's have a party. You're sad. I'm gonna bring over my friends that I've known since high school. A good night, nothing bad. But looking back, I had nothing in common with him. And I should have seen all of the red flags. So we started hanging out. I started going to his house. And actually, his parents were religious, so they were talking about God over there all the time. And then this is when I went to the church with them, because they were like, oh, you should come to our church. I became really close friends with his sister too. And we were hanging out like every day. And then I went to go see Jeffree Star in Chicago. But I had gotten sick in the bathroom, and I was like, well, something's wrong. I feel like something's off. So I went to Jeffree Star with his sister, and she was like, you should probably take a pregnancy test if you're feeling sick and you feel off. So I bought 6 pregnancy tests just in case. And I took the first one and it came out positive. And then took 5 more and they all came out positive. And at the time, I was so scared because I knew that this man was not going to be any type of father. And I told my mom first, and that's when my mom was super supportive and there for me. And then I did drive to his house and I told his mom first. And his mom was not like supportive like my mom, but she was fine. She took the news and she said that I need to tell him a couple of months went by because I went to the doctor's appointment at about 13 or 14 weeks. And they put the heartbeat machine over my stomach, and he interrupted my moment that I was having, and he said, "Oh, I guess you weren't lying." And then after that, we went, and they gave me like the little black and white pictures, and at that time it was like a little nugget thing, like it didn't even look like a baby. And that was the last time that I saw him in person. But I had called him over the phone, and he said, "So are you going to take care of this, or what are we going to do about this?" And I said, "What do you mean take care of it?" And he was like, you're going to get an abortion, right?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." I sent him pictures of my gender reveal, and then when I had my ultrasounds, I sent him those pictures. And then when I was going into labor, I sent him text message like, it's happening. If you want to come, this is where it's at. But he never answered. His read receipts were even on, so I saw him reading them and didn't get any type of response. And I was doing that up until the point of Carter being 2 years old, with random pictures, and this is how his life's going. And I think about 1.5 years, I sent a picture of Carter smiling, and I said, "You don't know this precious life that you're missing out on." And I wish you could experience the love that this child has brought into my life. And that was one of the last text messages I sent. I have to spend time with God on a daily basis. If I don't spend time with God, I can see my old habits not necessarily coming back, but little pieces where I'm like, ooh, no. And advice that I would give them is, if you're single, God needs to be your number one, because without God being the number one, your relationship with whoever you get in a relationship with, or even in your singleness, if you're putting anything over God, you'll fall back into the things that you were doing. And there is no love like God's love. An unconditional love that heals and anything that happens, I feel like I can get through because now I have a relationship with God. God didn't let me spend the rest of my life alone. And I do believe that if I never found God, I would not be as happy as I am. Or me and Carter wouldn't be in a place that we're in right now, where I don't even think about the thought of loneliness has completely left. And it doesn't matter if I'm actually like in the state of alone, I'm never alone. And the most comforting thing is when something happens where before I would be like panicking and like, oh my goodness, I'm not, how am I going to make it through this? It's peaceful now, where I know that God is going to prevail and he's going to come through, and it might not be at my time or at my will, but within that, it will happen at God's will. And that's the way that it's supposed to be. Because if I'm not ready for what God needs to give me, then there's still somewhere that I need to not necessarily improve, but learn as I go. And when I'm ready, then it'll happen. So I can't describe the happiness that I have from having such a personal and close relationship with God. It's a feeling that I hope every woman experiences, because it makes you feel whole and you don't have to look to anybody else for confirmation or comfort.